Let us know. Oh my God. Shaggy, dude. Let's get in here, Shaggy. What's up, Shaggy?
All right. That was a blast of the past. That was me being made over on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy season 1. So I'm just here to tell you I know a little bit about makeovers, which is why this podcast needed a makeover. If you're a little confused, don't worry. Yes, this podcast was formerly known as the House of AC. And the thing is, I've just completed a full renovation on this pod here. Full on makeover. And the winner, hopefully, is you. Wanted to have a laser beam focus on what I'm going to present to you every episode of this podcast. I was a little bit all over the map before. So moving forward, this podcast is about one thing. It's about living your dreams, creating more time, giving you more options in your life through the power of real estate. I want to teach you how real estate can get you to exit the 9-to-5. I want to teach you how real estate can give you the options to go pursue your dream job. If you do want to stay in the 9-to-5, no judgment here. I just want to show you that real estate can change your finances. And by that, it's going to change your options in life. You have unlimited freedom to go do what you want to do. Honestly, before I went down the path of becoming a real estate maximalist, someone who's just all in, a crazy nut about real estate, I didn't realize the power that it had to change my life. I was looking to exit my 9-to-5 job, and I just wanted to be in control of me. I felt like my boss was in control of me, and that was not a good feeling. I just felt like I couldn't realize my potential if I had someone I had to report to. And real estate was a light at the end of the tunnel. And I said, man, if I had a few properties, just enough to cover my day job income, then I could go pursue all the things I want to pursue. I just needed that base salary covered. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe you feel like you're trapped because you're at a 9-to-5 job and you're already giving yourself 40 hours to another person or company. That's all going to change with the steps I'm going to give you today. And that's what I want to teach you every episode here on Real Estate Maximalists. Welcome to Real Estate Maximalists. I'm your host, Alan Corey. I bought my first piece of real estate at the age of 22, a $99,000 condo, which I've now, 22 years later, turned into a $50 million real estate portfolio. I have done it all. The short-term rentals, the long-term rentals, the new construction, the multifamily, the single family, the apartment buildings. I've published books about real estate investing, and I've helped launch 5 businesses in the real estate space. But usually, it's just much easier to say, I'm a real estate maximalist. Step 1 to your life transformation is this. Let's look at your finances. Your take-home pay, that is the money that shows up in your bank account via direct deposit each month after taxes, or maybe it's a check, or maybe it's in cash. That total for the entire month. Do you immediately give a third to 50% of that to your landlord or your mortgage company? If so, don't worry. You're like most people. That's what most people do. They give a third to 50% of their take-home pay each month to someone else. That's a major expense. Imagine if you got rid of that expense. How would that change your life? You would probably go on more vacations. You would probably do that expensive hobby because now you've got extra money to spend on the equipment or whatever it is. You would visit your family more often or spend the money to get away from your family, whatever your situation may be. Getting rid of that payment is such freedom, and that is just one of your expenses. Of course, I'm going to teach you later on how to get rid of your other expenses, but today I just want to focus on this first expense. That paycheck sucking housing expense we all have. What a life-changing moment it'll be for you to get rid of that expense. So the way you can accomplish this is through a strategy, house hacking. Now, I know the strategy is not going to be for everyone. None of my strategies is going to be for everyone, but I'm going to cover a bunch of different strategies in this episode. But house hacking is very simple. What it is you live in your house, which right now is an expense, or you're paying rent to someone, and this is an expense eating up your paycheck. But imagine if you bought a house and you lived in that house, and then you made money off that house. That's what house hacking is. This could be accomplished by buying a 4-bedroom single family house, and you live in 1 bedroom and you rent out the 3 because you have roommates. And those 3 roommates are paying you $500, $800 a month, whatever it may be. And that covers your entire mortgage payment. And boom, achievement unlocked. You now have your housing costs covered. Now, you might say, hey, I'm at a point in my life. I've got married. I've got kids. I don't want roommates. That's okay. This is what you do. You buy a multi-family property. A small multifamily is considered a duplex, a triplex, or a quadruplex. You live in one unit and you rent out the other unit. You don't have roommates. You just have a shared wall. And then you charge rent and collect rent to cover all of your mortgage payment. That's another way to get this achievement unlocked. And that is exactly what I did in my 20s. I actually combined both of those strategies. I bought a duplex, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 3 bedrooms downstairs. I rented out the 3 bedrooms downstairs, and I got roommates in the 2 bedrooms upstairs. I took the smallest bedroom. It actually didn't even have any windows, not technically a bedroom, but that is where I was able to change my life and retire early. Because not only did that house hacking situation cover my mortgage, I also made $1,800 on top of that. After all my utility bills and property taxes and insurance were covered, I had an extra $1,800. And that was enough for me to leave my day job. I could retire and live off $1,800. And you might be saying, well, how? Well, imagine if you had $1,800 to spend and you didn't have any housing cost. Only thing I had to spend $1,800 on was food, transportation, and discretionary expenses. As a single 28-year-old whose only transportation was $100 a month subway pass, I actually had trouble spending that each month. Yeah, I know. Woe was me. Okay. You're not going to feel sorry for me, but it's true. All my friends were working a 40-hour week. They didn't have time to hang out with me. They didn't have the budget to go to a nice restaurant because they're spending their money on housing costs. So again, I just want you to focus. How can we turn your liability, your primary residence right now, into something that makes you money? If you don't want to go the roommate situation or want to share a wall with someone, okay, you can build or buy a property that has an ADU unit. It's an accessory dwelling unit, or a granny flat, or a detached mother-in-law suite, right? It's like 2 houses on one property and you rent out that other property to someone else. And that could be a long-term tenant. That could be a short-term tenant. You've got options here, right? I'm giving you different strategies that you can apply to your life. It's a little bit uncomfortable because you're going to have to deal with tenants and roommates, but I'm giving you strategies that are effectively doubling your paycheck. You're giving 50% away of it right now. And I'm saying, no, you save that 50%. You've doubled your paycheck. And it doesn't take a lot of work, right? It's actually way, way less work than working twice the hours at your job or taking on a second job. So what we got to do is take your living situation and make it a income producing asset. You can even do it as a renter. You can go rent a 4-bedroom property and say, hey, put only me on the lease, $3,000 a month. And that might be your entire take-home pay for the month. But if you've lined up 3 roommates, they're going to pay $1,000 each. Now you took the risk that, hey, if I don't have a roommate, I may have to pay $3,000 one month. I may have to pay $2,000 one month. But most likely, I'm going to have 3 roommates at all times, and I'm going to have no living cost. And then I can work towards another expense in my life. Let me give you another strategy to quickly make money in real estate without owning real estate. You can also rent someone's apartment as a long-term rental and put it up as a short-term rental. This strategy is called rental arbitrage, and you keep the delta. I literally had a tenant who rented out all 3 units of my triplex in Atlanta, Georgia, and she lived in Iceland, and she ran a business out of my triplex. I knew she was making more money than I was. It didn't take me long when the lease ran out saying, hey, thank you for being a great tenant. I'm going to run the Airbnb now because I know you're making way more money than I am on this property. So there's ways out there that you don't necessarily need to own a property where you can make money. You just keep the delta. You leverage other people's assets and turn them into your income producing assets. So to quickly recap, if you're like most people, a third to half of your take-home pay is going to living expenses. We need to tackle that to change your life, to give you options so that you can be an eccentric real estate maximalist. We've covered house hacking, where you buy a property that's either a single family and you get roommates, or a small multifamily where you rent it out and it covers the majority of your expenses. We've covered rental arbitrage, where you rent a property on a long-term lease and you put it up as a short-term rental. You do have to get your landlord's permission to sublet it like that, but it is a strategy out there that I've seen in action, because every time I list one of my properties, the first 5 calls are people who want to do that. Now, I want to cover what I think is the most lucrative strategy out there. I've named this strategy short shifting. It's shifting between short-term rentals. You stay the night in whatever one is vacant. So picture this scenario. You've got a triplex. All 3 units are furnished. You have some flexibility. You have like a go bag. And whatever one is vacant that night, that is where you sleep, so that you're constantly making money every single night. You just fill in the vacancy. Now, if you book up all 3, most likely it's going to be cheaper for you to go rent a hotel room. You've already got your go bag, right? Or stay at a friend's house, or go visit your family that week, whatever it may be. We've had Robert Leonard on in the past. He's the host of the Real Estate 101 podcast, and he takes short shifting to the next level. He got a recreational vehicle, went to go buy one, $70,000. An RV that you can drive, you can go camping, it folds out, it's got the toilets and the beds. You can buy these $70,000 RVs with $0 down. He parks this RV in his driveway. And then when his short shifting is all booked up, he sleeps in the RV. But he also rents out the RV on Outdoorsy. So some people come and rent the RV from him for weeks at a time, months at a time. So he's making money on all these short-term rentals, and he just shifts in between each one. This is an amazing strategy. And if you want to live different lives, imagine in your town you had 3 vacation rentals in 3 different parts of town that were fun and exciting. And whatever one's vacant you live in, you're checking in on your property. You're probably going to have to clean it between every checkout anyway, but you can also get property management companies to do that for you. But the big picture I want to teach you right now is you need to get rid of your housing cost. Maybe you're listening and saying, I don't want a house hack. My spouse is not on board. I don't want to do rental arbitrage. That seems like too much risk. What else is out there so that I can turn this thing eating at my paycheck into something that doesn't touch my paycheck? Don't worry, you've got some options as well. You could rent out your swimming pool. There's an app called Swimply, which is basically sort of Airbnb for your swimming pool, where you rent it out by the hour. If you have a fenced yard in a major city, there's a website called Sniff Spot. You rent out your yard for little sniffers for dogs to play in. There's parking apps and parking websites where you can rent out your street parking or your driveway parking. There's storage apps. If you have extra space in your garage or basement, you can rent it like a self-storage facility. So think of these ways to turn your house that's costing a third to half of your paycheck. Let's turn that around so that you have no housing expenses. That's a huge goal to accomplish. And I promise you, you have it in you to do this.
1, 2, 3. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, we're done.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Keep asking.
That belt that has no belt loops. Like, say I want to go to the bathroom,
Right.
undo my belt.
It's actually less convenient to open it up and then undo all the buttons than to just open your fly.
Remember, I needed a major makeover and I had to make difficult changes in my life to be who I am today. I had the guidance of the Fab Five. You have the guidance of me. Okay, I'm not as talented as any member on the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy makeover team, but I think you can see already these little changes, what they can do for your finances. I know people are addicted to passive income, and a lot of these things seem like work. It's such little upfront work, and it becomes passive over time. Just start thinking about how much time you save yourself from actually being at your day job where you are working, or maybe you're not working, but you got to be at the office. This gives you time and options to not be at the office because you're already at home. So use your home, that big liability, into a big money-making asset.
Okay, next question.
Actually, I've got a question for you, the audience of Real Estate Maximalists. If you've learned something today, can you do me a favor? Can you, one, leave a review to help the algorithm gods? And two, can you tell a friend about this? That would be wonderful. Let's create a movement of people transforming their lives through real estate, giving themselves more options, being able to live their dreams. That is what we're building here. And one more thing, fellas. Did I do okay on this podcast makeover?
To Alan. Cheers to Alan. You know, all's well that ends well.
Thank you, Fab Five. Kudos to you, and kudos to you. Thank you for checking out this new version of my podcast. You can join the community at the Real Estate Maximalist Facebook group. Follow me on social media at Real Estate Maxi. I'm your host, Alan Corey.